the June 19th meeting of the Fairhope Airport Authority to order. First order of business is, the chair also recognizes we have a quorum, so that's good. The first order of business is approval of the May 15th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the minutes of the May 15th meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes passed. Okay, Pam, nomination and appointment of advisory board?
Well, I've got a draft done to put out on our Facebook page and our website. You know, we have filled some positions with subject matter expertise we needed, so if any of you have suggestions as to other specific subject matter expertise to be listed on this, I would appreciate knowing.
Okay.
Dr. Strickland said he would be a member, so I'll make him fill out the application, okay? So that's one. Bill's my orthodontist, right?
Well,
Okay, I'll get it.
we'll talk about it.
All right, next thing, moving on, order, Sunny Callahan Airport minutes, or minimum standards.
We agreed at the last meeting to have them done by August 1st. Have you and Vince been able to finish your part of it, Ray?
No, we haven't. So we've pulled some minimum standards from Gulf Shores and from Pensacola, and we just need to work to assimilate those standards into where we want to be as well. So I think it's...
There's not, I mean, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, we just need to take this opportunity to look at them before we get the east side done. I mean, they're in pretty good shape, except there's some language that I
I
like.
think
in
there's
Gulf
some
Shores.
nuanced stuff that we need to
Yes.
work on
Yep.
to make sure that we preserve the integrity of the development
Yep.
future.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, item number 4 is approval to make application for the 2018 AIP FAA ALDOT grant for a total of $3,617,000. Hank, do you want to talk about that as far as kind of just give us an overview?
Yeah, the project has been bid, and I sent a recommendation for award letter to award to Cunningham Delaney yesterday on an email. I think I CC'd most of the board
You did.
members on it. I think I got everybody. We don't want to award just yet. We want to make motion to go ahead and proceed with filing the application, the grant itself.
So that's what we're going to do. This first one is to approve to make application. So
Correct.
So why don't you kind of go through the bid process? We had a pre-bid meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 responsive bidders.
Yep, we had a pre-bid meeting. Quite a few people was there.
Yeah.
We had Eric Cortines, me, Joe, several others, representing the city. They showed up. We had 3 bidders: Cunningham Delaney, John G. Walton, and Hosey Weaver. Cunningham Delaney. The project was divided up into a base bid and 7 alternates. The alternates were set up to try to get and use as much of the available funding that the FAA has set up to, in the event that there wasn't enough money to do all 7, at least have alternates that we could select from to use what they did have. When we turned in the bid prices, I talked to the ADO for the FAA. He said he was going to be able to get all of it. So based on that means Cunningham Delaney is going to be the low bidder.
Well, that's the second. Let's wait. So what I need as far as background, this is the 4th phase of a basically multi-year project that we're basically building out the east side.
Correct.
And the total project will be, with this money, will be $8.4 million. And our portion, we've put almost $450,000 into this project already. So we'll have a $180,000 commitment this time. So what I'd like for the board to do is make approval to make application for the 2018 AIP FAA ALDOT grant for a total of $2,617,000. Okay?
$3 million.
$3 million.
$3,617,020. So I'd like, do I have a motion or do we have more discussion?
I'll move. Let's do it.
Yeah. Make a motion to make application for 2018 AIP FAA ALDOT grant in the total of $3,617,020.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor of approval of making application for that grant?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Just as a kind of a commentary, this will go to the mayor has this on her desk to sign, the application for the grant, and the city council will approve the grant hopefully in their meeting Monday night,
25th.
the 25th. So,
What is the deadline for the submission of this?
It's here.
It's here.
Yes.
yeah,
Kevin did give us an allowance since the y'all's board meeting kind of lands further in the month. I spoke to him. The real deadline normally is June 15th. I spoke to Kevin a month ago. He said he was fine with moving forward, you know, with the city council having to get the resolution signed. So as soon as we get that.
and we will know when, we'll know,
Probably late August, 1st of
Okay.
September. So when that comes in, then we'll convene again, and then you guys have to make motion to accept the grant.
yeah.
Is the resolution on the council agenda?
We know the resolution's been
The
drafted.
resolution's been delivered to Lisa for placement on the agenda. I drafted that last week and emailed it to her. I know she's on vacation this week, I think,
And I don't get privy to the agenda, so but I will ask.
but there were several people, including Jack, was copied on the email. So I haven't seen the agenda, but I would expect that it should be on there.
Okay? Anything else? All right, the fifth thing is, the next item is approval of the contractor for the 2018 AIP grant. This is kind of a follow-up. Again, we went through we had 3 responsive contractors. There were 7 alternative work schedules.
Well, 7 alternative construction
Okay.
items, and those were consisted of 1 being a water line, 1 being a sewer line, 1 being electrical, 1 being gas. The additional fence that you guys wanted to cover previously that we said we'd add on there, and then the roadway lighting for the access road that's already there. We were gonna put roadway lights on it.
So your sense of it is we're gonna get all this money?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, there's no guarantee
I know.
till it actually comes in, but Kevin's response to me was make the grant for 100% money on all 7 alternates in a base bid.
That's great.
So,
All right, do we, and the winning bid with all 7 alternatives was who?
was Cunningham Delaney. They're the local contractor that's here in Baldwin County.
Okay.
They participated in
In 3 and 2 and 1.
1 and 2,
Yeah, 1 and
correct.
2.
The only issue that we saw with their bid packet was their DBE participation was only 1.6%. One of the other contractors was 4.5%.
That's disadvantaged business
Yeah.
enterprise.
So they did submit a good faith effort and provided solicitations where they advertised in the newspapers, and they received 1 quote for concrete from C. Thornton on a large trench drain, but their price to do the trench drain was about $150,000 less than that DBE contractor, so therefore they didn't use them. So they do have that quote included with their correspondence between them and that DBE sub and the solicitation. So our recommendation was to award it to them.
All 3 totals are so tightly grouped. I guess that's a
That
good
was
sign.
that was a very good sign. We have very minimal questions on the job. Keep in mind, that was a rebid from last year, so some questions that popped up last year, we were able to make sure we had those addressed this year when we issued the plans and the specs, so all that got handled.
It did cost us $300,000 more to do it this year than it did last year.
Correct. And that's a direct reflection of the fuel prices. This is, the controlling item on this job is asphalt. You got liquid asphalt in an asphalt mix, so when the price of fuel goes up, the price of mix goes up. And we saw an increase on all 3 bids. From last year, we were getting asphalt bid out at about $80 a ton, and this year it came in at like $94 and $95 a ton. So when you got, 20,000 tons going down, it adds up. So that's where the difference was. It was about 300,000 in asphalt.
Did all 3 of these bidders bid last year?
Yes, ma'am, they did.
Who was the other bidder last year?
Arrington Curb,
Okay.
which he's not, we've recently received some emails concerning contractors' licensing endorsements. And last year, we can open bids from somebody that's not 100% properly licensed. We just can't award the job. So this year, we've received some emails from the state and some other government agencies that say you need to make sure that all of them are 100% properly licensed.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Volker's engineering estimate was only $125,000 more than the bid. So y'all's engineering,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
bids were pretty close to the engineering estimate that we worked from, so I felt pretty good about that too.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, do I have a motion that we accept Cunningham Delaney's bid for the East Side Construction Project Phase 4?
Based on availability of funds, meaning that you're not gonna make the award until you get the grant. So don't award anything till we get the grant.
And we have a letter that we actually do that. We won't do that until we actually.
Right, what we'll do, whenever the grant comes back and you guys accept the grant, then we'll write a letter or you'll
Okay.
write me a letter saying proceed with execution of contracts, and I'll take those contracts, get them executed by the contractor, and then executed by y'all.
And there's 180 days to complete the contract?
Yes.
Again, do we have an approval to accept Cunningham Delaney as our prime contractor for the job?
I'll make a motion to approve Cunningham Delaney as the contractor for the job in the event the grant is successfully awarded.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay? Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much. Number 6 is approval of new opportunity in the West Side Mitigation Bank. Kind of to give you an overview, we had a West Side Mitigation project last month. We did not win that. It was awarded to somebody else. But opportunities never cease. So this is a new opportunity. If it was only 7 acres, but I've talked with Lee Walters this morning. He said we thought we had a good chance to do that. And what I'd like to do is, instead of having a special call meeting to approve this, if y'all would give me the ability, if you will, to negotiate any contract with Cunningham, with Good Mills to actually go forward with this if we get to that point. And I think it'll probably work out. It'll be before the July meet, after, we'll have more information in July. But I would like to.
The same price point that we were talking about, the earlier opportunity?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I actually went back and asked for $12,000 an acre instead of $10,000 an acre. And I think that's kind of the prevailing thinking. And Pam had a good question the other day about, why don't we go out and solicit Volkert and Michael Baker for us to include all these projects. Well, the way it was explained to me is these projects are basically published in the Corps of Engineers register, and basically everybody has access to the same projects, and just Goodwin Mills has a specialty in these projects, and they basically see which ones are suitable for us as far as stream mitigation versus wetland mitigation, and those are the ones that we get to see.
Although I don't think it hurts that all of these engineering firms in the state would know of the existence of our wetland stream mitigation bank. If they don't know, we've got to market ourselves, so if they don't know about it, it doesn't hurt to send them the information.
I will draft up something and send them to the engineers of record that I know in the state to actually make them aware that we have a wetlands
Well, I
mitigation.
started to draft something.
Okay.
So.
I would be appreciated. Okay?
I'm a little, the fact that we're selling it on a per acre, and when these things typically trade per linear foot on stream mitigation credits, I'm kind of confused. I know Goodwin Mills knows exactly what they're doing here, but are we? I just wonder why we're selling per acre when the market sells these per linear foot of stream.
And I think I have that number, I just don't have it with me.
Okay.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we table it this time? I'll be more prepared next time to give, because I don't think it's gonna happen before our July meeting, and I'll give you a linear foot. But I think I had that number, I think we had that conversation before we went down, and I had that number, I just don't have it in my notes.
I feel more comfortable with that, laying it over.
But if the downside of that, if it does happen, we have to have a special call board to prove it, but,
These things don't lose their value.
They don't.
Like if it's not Goodwin Mill, they're here now, but
Yeah.
these are diminishing resources.
Yeah.
So.
So that's what we'll do. I'll get you my to-dos, or we'll hold it over for the July meeting, and I'll get you a linear foot, that corresponds with the acreage price. We don't want to. Goodwin Mills is making money on this. They're not just doing it, to help us. I don't know what their margins are, what they're selling to their customers. but they're making money on these things, so, I mean,
No, I mean, that's,
yeah, we'd hope so, so, okay? All right, so we'll just leave that as it is. Lee Lawson just walked in the room. Lee, do you have some comments or? Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Why don't we just move out of order?
Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Board, thank y'all. I apologize. I'm running across a big county today, so I thank you for kind of amending the schedule for me to kind of address the board on. I know we've been in both regular session, executive session to talk about a company considering the west side of the airport. That company's Continental Motors. I think press came out about the project, and of course they disclosed where they were looking. At Mobile Airport Authority board meetings. We did not seek them. About 3 years ago, just for the record, a site consultant came to us with a project codenamed Blue Marlin, and we responded to the project. It was a large aviation site request. The consultant was out of Charlotte, so really threw off the smokescreen that it was a local regional company, but it was Continental doing it for the purpose of consolidating operations and looking at various operations from Texas to Florida, or site options from Texas to Florida. So we responded then at that time, so they had a lot of that site data already on hand about our site, and so when things got contentious over Mobile and they thought the deal may not be able to be worked out, they came back to us to unearth that process and that site selection process where it had paused previously. And so appreciate the board, your efforts, and your board members being engaged in the conversation. Mayor Wilson, the council were also engaged at a very high level, and we put together what we thought was a very thoughtful, pragmatic proposal that addressed a lot of their concerns, both from a workforce standpoint, from a site standpoint, and from really just a building of the pipeline of workforce standpoint, because that was one of their major concerns about relocating from their existing position where they are at Brookley. They're able to work some things out, a complicated deal from a real estate standpoint, developer-driven deal with a group that's not from our area. So we were able to kind of put our best foot forward at the request of Continental, not at the request of us or anyone else. At the end of the day, they've chosen to stay at Brookley, which what we think is a great option for them and for us. Continental's going to continue to grow, hopefully in Fairhope. We're talking to them about some other opportunities in regards to the current operations that they have at Fairhope, which is very distinct and different from what they do in Mobile. And so I wanted to come back, I've shared with the leadership and others on the board kind of step by step what we've been doing on the process of talking to them about this opportunity. We think it's also given our team, both the mayor's office, first kind of taste of, hey, this is what really you have to do as a mayor and as a city when you're talking to companies about locating in your community, but also about some things that we can be working on and getting better at as we pitch the west side to bigger users. So in the interim, we had another project come by that looked both at Fairhope and in Gulf Shores, and of course this past week we announced that they chose the Gulf Shores airport for their location, Rescom International, which is a defense contractor doing maintenance, repair, and overhaul. Situation where Gulf Shores had an existing hangar that would fit their needs for immediate
That was,
use.
in my mind, that was a deal killer. We did not have it. One, we didn't have the east side built. We didn't have the east side built out, and then secondly, they wanted an existing hangar. Correct.
So there's an existing hangar at Gulf Shores that they're going to go in immediately, and then they're going to be building a greenfield hangar. We showed them both options. They like both options. It's just the Gulf Shores option fit their immediate need and then their long-term need a little better. So, these projects, including some others we have on our horizon, are all shaping up to be, hey, if you don't have product, you're not in the game. So if you don't have the site, you're not in consideration with some of the folks that we're talking to and bringing into this community. We have we're meeting at the Aviation Academy this week with another prospect. So we're utilizing the academy because it's a great asset to show them training, to show them workforce pipeline and preparation, and then the site itself. So we're utilizing the airport, its assets at the airport, for our purposes of trying to put people there, and we're seeing activity and we're seeing opportunities as it relates to both our marketing efforts, but both y'all's efforts in preparing the site and being ready to receive these opportunities. So I wanted to just give you that update, where past projects, current projects stand, and then what we've got going on looking down into the future. So I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have, and I do appreciate you amending the order for today to accommodate my schedule. So
I guess I was disappointed. I learned a lot. I guess the big thing I took away was the idea that we could be able to get that road built. I mean, we really need to get that road built into the west side. And so if we have a prospect that we can justify getting those road funds, and I think we have an insight on the road funds with Dr. Egerton, I'd really like to pursue it and get that west side kicked off if we could.
yeah, I mean, the thing about building a road on any greenfield property is as soon as you build it, you really are marking where development opportunities, can go. And so from that perspective, I wouldn't encourage this group to go after any, funds try to proactively build a road where there's not a need right now. Because what this project and showed us that is we did have to shift it a little bit in midstream as we were talking to the client, about where the road could go with the wetlands, with the mitigation potential, so I mean, all of that changed mid-course. And so from a development perspective, in my course of dealing with these types of projects, you never want to hamstring yourself on the front end with any type of road or infrastructure asset that you spend a good bit of money on, but then may be a hindrance to an opportunity down the road. Industrial access funds, the state has appropriated $13 million annually for the last umpteen years that I've been around. We just were successful in getting an award for Resicum down in Gulf Shores. So, we needed about $300,000 and we got every bit of it. So, those dollars will be there. They have been on the appropriation list every year and really haven't been in jeopardy at the state level. So those dollars will continue to be there for future opportunities, job creating opportunities for road infrastructure on publicly owned industrial land. And those are the requirements for those funds, where our group is very experienced in going after those funds with the committee there at the state level. And we've been successful and can be successful in the future in obtaining those type of funds. But you have to have the project first.
Okay.
And that's definitely our recommendation to this group from a road infrastructure standpoint as it relates to the west side.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Thank you for the overview and your efforts on our behalf.
Yep.
We do appreciate it.
Okay.
The Advantage site I guess we recertify the Advantage site for another 5 years?
Yeah, so the Advantage Site process, just so you know, is a process run by state groups out of the Economic Development Partnership of Alabama, Birmingham, and all the statewide utilities. We certified, or they don't like to call it certified, we designated the site as an Advantage Site several years ago, and basically what that means is we did all the due diligence that site selection consultants and others want to see for a prepared site, and there's a redesignation to make sure that ownership hasn't changed, pricing, all these other aspects, further environmental due diligence hasn't uncovered anything that would take the designation away from the site. So it's really just a paperwork effort. We need you to, sign a commitment letter that you're on board with having the site redesignated. We can tell you and verify that more and more of our requests are coming for only designated sites. And the state vouches for that.
And we
too.
did have an appraisal of the west side, so we had better numbers for what the value of the site.
That's correct. We did get an appraisal as a part of the process that we just went through for the project that I just discussed with you. So we do have a current appraisal, from a commercial appraiser, Cushman & Wakefield, a very well-respected firm. So we feel like we have some good numbers to base the pricing on, and where the market stands right now for the type of acreage that you have. And so just request that y'all do redesignate the site. It's an advantage, just like the name Advantage Site. It is an advantage for your site. It's an advantage for our county to have that Advantage Site.
Will that take us through 2023 or 2024?
I believe 2023. I'll have to double check that.
But the letter I wrote does that, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Lee.
No, thank you. We'll be back in touch with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
We got an appraisal, that's good.
Yeah, I guess we spent about $9,000 in this process. We had an appraisal done, we had a topo map done, and we spent about $1,000 getting our bond counsel to say that we could sell this outright to one person.
So we're current on everything.
So we're current on everything, but we still spent $9,000. But anyway, that's kind of where we are. Okay? Lee, thank you.
Hey, Joe, thank you.
Let's see, the next thing is, we skipped up, we did number 8, that was development, redevelopment of the 8. The next thing is, it's kind of a personal need. Right now, this is, the way you think about this is, we've got about $250,000 a year in revenues. Well, if you count the city money, we have about $600,000 in revenues. We have about $250,000 of recurring revenues from other sources and make about $120,000 in profit. I pretty much run this on my family computer, which is, that's not to say that it's not, it's just up there. What I'd like to do is I'd like to hire a firm, and somebody I'm pretty familiar with, Wilkins Miller, to basically come in and shadow my computer and basically do some backup for my electronic files. I got a reasonable, I think it's $60 a month, and with some $125 an hour actually helping me set up the programs to do it. So,
$125 an hour.
yeah, that's pretty cheap, I think. But anyway, long story short, is that kind of what we need to do? I believe we need to do that. I guess alternatively, I could print out 3 years worth of emails and whatever, and we could store them manually, but I think the world is going to more electronic files, and I just think we need to figure out a way to move these things electronically. Josh has some of them backed up. We originally inherited something from Chuck, but I have not kept that up to date as I should have, and I don't think that having it on
No, and what I've got from Chuck is, I guess, all the authorities' records up to, say, 2015, I guess.
2014, I think.
Rotated off the board 2014, 2015. I've got my own files, which are secure, but they're not backed up either. And I haven't added to the records that Chuck provided in the sense that I haven't copied them into one location. So I think it is a good idea to have a backup of all of the authorities' records and information. I just wonder, should we solicit bids, or is it gonna be set? We don't have to. I mean, there's nothing in the legislation that requires the authority to solicit bids. I'm just throwing that out there as something the board might want to consider, just in terms of seeing what the best price might be for that service. But I do think it's something that needs to be done.
So they would train all of us how to do this?
just me.
Okay, so what about all of our files that may need
I
to
don't know.
save?
I guess, I don't know. I can get if you'll send them to me, we'll get them all categorized. Or I can send them to your house and let them get, put them on your, we can, the cloud is where we'll store everything, but somebody's got to go through and put them in individual folders and categorize them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to do that for mine once I learn how to do it, but somebody else, you'd have to have access, he'd have to train you at the same time.
Or you could send it to whoever the administrator is
Yeah.
on the outside administrator and just email it
Yeah.
to them, and then they put it on the file. Or
I don't know what the best way to do it. I know this guy Andy Odles. I've worked with him on some other stuff. I think he's a good egg. He's a friend. My sense of it is he'll do it the right way. I think we're talking about 2 to 3 hours of his actual time.
And it's $60 a month, you said?
$60 a month to store it.
And the administrative fee is $125 per hour that he's
To help me get
engaged.
started. I think, he's not gonna, once we understand how to file things, or he sets up the files, I think that Pam and I will just know going forward, or, we'll all have access to this cloud-based system that we'll just put things in there. When you send me an email, you'll just, back it up there too, or I'll know to back it up.
I'd like to move to make a motion that you negotiate on the authority's behalf to come up with a document retention and storage policy.
Okay. And implement that.
Yeah, I think that's, are we able to go ahead and can he go ahead and implement the policy through that motion as well? Or?
Yeah, he can. Like I said, there's no.
So I'll modify that to accept proposals and implement under your discretion.
Okay, I
think
appreciate
that
that.
we're long overdue.
Will, you're pretty familiar with small business. Is this a reasonable?
Sure looks like it to me, yeah.
I mean, a community bank, everything you did was backed up. I mean,
Yeah.
I never worried about it, but, I mean, I just woke up the other morning and said, if this family computer crashed, we'd have to start over.
Or it was hacked into,
Get some water.
What?
hacked into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or hacked into it. I know about that.
You do?
So anyway, all right, well, so,
Motion was made.
and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Hold on.
I know, but
We lost our.
we're at
quorum.
pause. So,
I think she left her proxy before she walked out.
but we'll come back to that. The next two things are General Aviation Alliance is gonna have a regional airport managers meeting at our airport on August 2nd, 2018. This is the third one they've had. They had one, you okay? Too early to tell.
Just had a cough that wouldn't stop, so.
So anyway, they're gonna have at the Aviation Academy, we'll all be invited. There'll be about 45 participants. Dr. Egerton, this is one of Dr. Egerton's initiatives, and the General Aviation Alliance folks will be there, so.
What's
it's-
that date again?
It's August 2nd. Okay? That's an informational thing. So let's vote on the retention and electronic recovery. All those in favor of moving forward with
Did
the,
you get a second?
Got a second.
Okay.
all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it, and I'll report back to you on next month about what we're gonna do. Okay, item 10 is nomination selection of authority officers for 2018, 2019. Traditionally, Vince has kind of headed this committee up, but Will's on this committee too. Can you start the process? Can you get with Vince and Chip and start the process? And I have some suggestions about people who've requested certain things. Can you get with me before y'all get too far?
Yeah, sure.
Does that make sense? And there's also, I mean, we just really need to think about that. I mean, so if you'll get with Vince and Chip, and I'll give you my thoughts about it, okay? All right? But let's report back in July about what your initial thinking is, and then we hold it over for another month, and we'll vote in August, okay? All right.
Gotcha.
Next thing is the final, number 11 is the Flight Line Manager's Report. Joe Baggett, you want to do that quickly?
Sir David Shear spoken with Abe. He's working with Abe on the security cameras.
Yeah, Abe
So
Harper. They're
Okay.
working together.
David Shear said he would keep you informed of what
Yeah.
the status is.
And how much is it going to cost us?
Well, they had been unable to meet and get together, so they were talking today, and they're
Okay.
working that out. We'll get that back.
Okay.
Just remember $6,000 being quoted.
I remember it was $17,000.
Yeah, it
I'm not
was,
sure how
it
much
was higher, but there, Abe has some suggestions of, non-proprietary software and things that other airports are using successfully that are off the shelf, that are supported, instead of being proprietary, where then you only have one vendor that supplies you and so forth. So they're discussing all the options.
But I mean, my understanding, Continental Motors is going to pay some of it, and we're going to pay some of it, and ours should be, I mean, I'm not sure, I mean, I was thinking around $5,000 to $6,000. I hope that's kind of in the ballpark. I mean, that's what I'm kind of thinking, but.
We'll be able to tell you next month, okay?
All right. Approved access to T-Hangers Bridge over culvert, we really hadn't done anything with that. Weather stripping on T-Hangers, I had an early email from our favorite tenant asking us that why we had not put the weather stripping on the floor, on
On the
the
door
sweep.
sweeps.
Yeah,
I'll make sure that that's done.
okay.
It hasn't been an issue. There's a few hangars that part of it is, there are some gaps in it, but I'll have those ordered. Rubber Specialty is who makes the sweeps and who makes the door seals, which I had some put on order. So as soon as they come in, I should have all of those done by July 1st.
So you'll have that one hangar
Or,
done.
I'm sorry, August 1st. Yes, sir. It's just rubber that I have it measured, and they cut it to length, and they send us those.
And then sometime in August, after the bids are done, you and I will sit down and come up with a strategy for doing more of these at a cheaper price. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
You get a contract actually to do them.
And then the security lights have come in, we just have to install them.
Oh,
But they
good.
did come in.
Okay. Renewal of the FFC license for the authority. I renewed the VHF license. I have not renewed the UHF license. This may be something that I'm just not capable of doing. I may have to enlist somebody to help me do it. We'd had a consultant to do it before, and we paid $85 to get the VHF one. I asked for the FCC to send me their licensing package, and there was just way too many things that I didn't know to get it done. So I'm looking for some help on that. We've got to August to do it, but I'm going to try to look for somebody to help me actually complete that license application, the renewal. Okay?
And that's a renewal for the FCC license?
For the FCC UHF license. We've got, so it's part of the AWAS. There's a VHF license and there's a UHF license. The VHF we've got renewed, the UHF we don't. Sealing and paving of taxiways and aprons. That's going to just be a carry-on item. We're not going to be able to do that in this budget cycle. Our budget money is pretty much committed to doing the $3.6 million project. But we'll carry that on, and next time we get some discretionary money, we'll do some sealing. And I may ask Volkert to get us an estimate of what it would cost to seal if you could. I mean, we don't need to seal everything. We just need to seal the aprons near the T-anchors. Is that right? What would you think we needed to seal?
All of the ramp area needs to be sealed, because it's developing cracks.
Yeah.
And then that water's seeping into it and undermines the substrate underneath. Just like what happened where the fuel trucks are parked, when the concrete cracked, and just the water got in there, and then it just started to seep in.
But just so describe the areas that you think are the most immediate needs.
The ramp where you park all the aircraft,
Yeah.
and then down where all the T-hangers are,
Okay.
all that ramp. North ramp and the south ramp need to be resealed or sealed.
I think we had an estimate on that with the original capital improvement plan that we submitted in November. That was supposed to be on 2019.
Okay.
So we've got an estimate to do a seal coat.
Do you remember what the estimate was?
I can't remember, but I can get you that information.
Well, I can get you that, but it's not going to happen this year, Joe. I mean, we're going to keep it on the list of to-dos, but it's not going to happen this year. Okay. Securing a military fuel contract. That's a Joe Baggett initiative, which
Right,
we're
and
supportive
that's,
of.
I spoke with Mike Miller.
Yeah.
And he's with World Fuel. So he's got his people working on that, and he's going to, in fact, I'll call him tomorrow, find out exactly when that contract is going to come up for renewal or bid. But what I've done in the meantime is contact some of the people over at the Navy base in Pensacola, and then told them if we would establish like a food truck or something to bring the military in, and then we'd honor the military fuel card.
Okay.
So I'm working on that. But the big thing is getting, securing the contract, but we do take, and I told them we do accept the military, or the government card, and we can provide food as an incentive. Because that's what they're looking for.
As background, when we renegotiated the lease with Continental, that was one of the to-dos that we said that we would, Continental would spend so much money rebuilding the North Hangar, and they would commit to move their operation from upstate New York to Fairhope, but we would help them secure a military fuel contract. Well, that just didn't happen in the 2014 timeframe. I think it's time to revisit it.
I think it's every 5 years, so it'd be 2019.
I guess the board is in favor of that. I mean, does anybody have any thoughts on, to me, it looks like it's an easy decision, but I want to make sure everybody's on the same page, right? Yeah. I mean, they're coming and going anyway, we just aren't getting any,
We're not getting any revenue out of it.
I mean, we're not inducing them to come, they're just coming, and we're just gonna give them to land and eat some food and, you know, fill up with Jet A.
What kind of airplanes are these?
T6 primarily,
Okay,
the trainers.
right.
And then we do have the Coast Guard that comes in with the helicopters, the 60s, the Dolphins, the CASAs come in, Blackhawks from the Army.
Okay.
They've all come in. And we've had a few special operations, the Pilatus out of Duke Field in Florida. They've come over.
And they've requested fuel service on
Yes, sir.
occasion?
Now, on occasion, they do. They will stop and get fuel on occasion. We did have one of the special operations come in and they bought some jet fuel. They were visiting some family that were over here, so they stopped and got fuel.
I think they're looking for a, you know, an arrangement with Continental to have a discount on the fuel. Isn't that right?
But I am honoring with the government card, I am honoring the contract price.
So what would change the
Well,
increase?
the military has to go to airports that have a contract.
Okay.
That's their, they can go to those airport, or that's where they have to go. But if they have to stop and get fuel at an airport that does not have a contract, then they can do that with a card. But they do have to they have to honor that contract. So there's, regional, Batesville and Mobile, Berkeley, Jack Edwards, Bay Minette, Monroeville, Pensacola, they all have contracts.
We ought to have it then.
Yeah, we're the only one not having a
Yeah.
contract.
Oh, and Stennis, Gulfport, they all have contracts as well. So,
I just think it's just a natural step. I mean, it
Right.
makes the
Yeah.
FBL more valuable.
right.
It does.
And they do like to come to Fairhope because we're not as busy, say Jack Edwards or Berkeley Field, because they have so many aircraft in the pattern that they bring students over to Fairhope.
If anything we can do to help you with that, we'll help you. Next thing is, this is really a two-part thing. One, we put in the bid package to get the fencing extended down 13. That was like $48,000 to get about a half a mile of fence that would fence off the east side. So that was something we had been carrying forward, and I think when we get the contract, that'll do that. This was specifically that we had some teenagers a couple of Sundays ago just run off, hit our fence, tear up their truck. No one was injured, but pretty much took out about 60 feet of fence. Did some pretty significant damage. We had it repaired for $1,000. I have not got an invoice from that guy yet, but the mother of the joyriding teenager said that they would pay for it. So, and we're going to file an insurance claim, but she told me she was going to pay for it. So we'll just see that. I mean, I can't do anything until I get an invoice. So if you can get your guy to get us an invoice, that would help. Same guy that fixed the gates.
If she does pay for it, would we not file an insurance claim?
Well, our deductible is $25,000. So we would just basically, we would.
Yeah.
What would we do, Josh? What would we do?
We're just documenting it.
And their insurance would normally pay for it, but if they're gonna write a check, there's no need to file a claim with their insurance.
The truck was. They didn't flip the truck, but that fence did a lot of damage to their truck.
Wasn't there four?
4 teenage boys had a bad fright, and they were just out joyriding, just had a hamburger and just had a bad afternoon. So
Was that on a straightaway?
yeah, right there on 32,
Right on 32.
right there by the new anyway.
Past the entrance to the
Uh-huh.
airport.
Okay. That's anything else? Anything else? I got a report from Kyle this afternoon that we had 2 PAPI lights out on 19 and 1, and 1 real light out.
I just flew back from Gulf Shores and the real lights are working on 1-9.
Okay, so maybe you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot better job in the last year keeping things on. So and I appreciate your efforts for that. Okay. Anything else? You want to add anything to the list?
Do we have the Facebook website or the
Yes,
Facebook? Is
we
someone
do.
keeping that up?
Yeah, telling me that they're doing new drone shots with Chip when he returns next week, and that'll go up on the Facebook site. He's made a few additions to the website and the Facebook page over the last week, and is adding photo galleries to both.
All right.
So that's continually a work in progress, keeping it updated. And again, if we have additional things that should go on Facebook or the website, please send them to me. I'll get them to Ben and get them up there.
Yeah, we just keep updating that as much as
Mhm.
possible via social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody posted something, like put your next site there.
That was Ben.
That was good. That was pretty
Yeah.
clever. I shared it with both my friends.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job for us, and that's great. And I think having current drone footage of the airport property will be beneficial to us as well.
Okay. All right, anything else?
So that's it. I got
Small
another-
wish list.
Yeah, I got another jet in minutes. I gotta get back to the airport.
Thanks, Joe.
So, you're welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Treasurer's report?
Yeah, I guess looking back at the minutes from last month, I guess Joe talked about the refinancing of the debt. Today, you the numbers on the current month income, I guess those are self-evident right there, but items worth noting also, we had a capital improvement on the repair of the skylights in the amount of $2,840. That's pursuant to our obligations under the lease with Continental.
They they leak, and I mean, I guess the lesson learned is we should have taken them out at the time we repaired the roof. So,
Yeah, it's the old adage, don't put a hole in a roof unless you want it to leak. And that's what we're preventing here. And then we also had, we had an annual pest control, the AWAS lighting.
you know, that's weird. That's actually a check that was written. I haven't mailed that check. It's just been cut. I think that's actually Continental's responsibility. That's actually for rat control in the big hangars. We're still negotiating whether we're gonna pay that or not. I mean, we've written the check, therefore it shows up as a payment, but we haven't mailed the check yet. So, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're working on that. I think that's really a Continental problem.
Okay, any questions?
The grass cutting, grass is gonna, we get 7 cuts a year. We're kinda halfway through it. All the rain, we may get another cut, but it's pretty much like about $4,000 a cut, which is a lot of grass. We got a lot of grass. We got 200 acres out there now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything else?
I did meet with the chamber.
All right, anyway, so treasurer's report. All right, other business?
I did meet with Casey Williams, head of the Eastern Shore Chamber, so the Airport Authority is going to join the chamber. It's $220 a year for membership for all the members of the authority. And,
Is that something y'all want to do? I mean,
yeah,
okay.
I think, yeah. And we discussed which chamber committees it might be good for various people on the authority to become involved with. And so I'll put all that out and people can let me know what they're interested in. So I'm submitting the paperwork, so I'm going to need a check. And I apprised her that AOPA will be having their fly-in October in Gulf Shores, and so they'll be working with us to help publicize that here, and what can we do to get people to the overflow to our airport and stay in Fairhope, since Gulf Shores isn't that far away. They could commute to it. And they'll help us too in publicizing. She mentioned again when we had the business after hours that so many people mentioned they weren't aware of the airport and what all it had, the Aviation Academy, the runway, the opportunities for the east side and the west side. So she is going to help us market within the chamber membership and let them know more of the opportunities out there for various businesses and so forth.
I think chamber membership's a value-added service. I think we ought to do it, but.
Did you get some residual feedback from our open house out there?
Still positive comments. As I said, people hadn't realized what all the airport had to offer and how much it
Yeah.
had been developed. And even though, again and again, she said well, I've lived here all my life, I didn't realize this. So she thinks that we could do some more marketing within the chamber to let them know of the various business opportunities and development and so forth, since now they've become aware of it.
It was a heavy wine drinking group, I remember.
It was a very well-attended event.
Yes, it was.
It was.
I already said it was the chamber, no need to be redundant. No. I'd like to, one thing that occurred to me, and if you're done, is with the development of the east side and kind of the improvements that we've made and kind of a furtherance of what you just indicated, that there was, an interest in the airport and what facilities are down there. I just wanted to consider maybe the possibility of starting to plan a 2019, possibly a fall air show. It's been a long time since we've done something like that. And I know it was a big hit. I'm trying to think, it was probably 8-9 years ago.
I think it was 2010 or 2012 was the last one, the Festival of Flight.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe if we got ahead of that, there might be an opportunity to, showcase by 2019, the east side ramp's gonna be done, the facility.
Maybe a general aviation terminal.
Yeah, and this is something that would take 18 months to plan, so I just wanted to go ahead and mention that I think that would be and I see a lot of nodding, maybe I don't know that something is already being considered, but.
No, but I mean, Zach's wife is here.
Okay.
Zach who did the large Warbirds fly-in.
Oh, yeah.
Which we've got nothing but positive feedback from that. I could see that a really large Warbird fly-in with some other things, and we could do that regularly. I mean, we could do that as a great thing.
I think we tie it in and, get Bradley Byrne involved, get our local government, get Lee Lawson involved, kind of tie it in with the aviation college. I mean, I think if you look at what's happened in the past decade since we had the last Festival of Flight,
We need to keep going, yep.
and that really inspires people to be interested in
Well, and,
what this is.
now we have Airbus here, and what was it, SSAS is relocating and so forth. So more aviation businesses here, get them sponsorship and.
I remember seeing the advertising for the last one, but I didn't attend. What all went on? What did you do?
I mean, fantastic. They had,
Military was here.
barnstorming. They had a crash. It was.
We didn't plan the crash.
But it was, thrills, spills, great adventure. Yeah.
We had some World War II planes.
Yeah.
They had
Military
fighter
came
jets,
in,
cargo
fighter
jets, helicopters.
C-130 landed at the airport.
The ramp was
Did you
totally.
have some aerobatics?
Oh yeah, aerobatics. The ramp was full of planes all the way down the auxiliary taxiway, all the way to the
Kids
south.
loved it.
Yeah,
If we went for the fall of 2019.
that's what I think would. That's
We'd
kind
have
of the
time to put it
that's the
together.
Chamber of Commerce weather. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be in
let's do it.
favor of that.
Cost about $70,000 to do.
We'd have to get.
We had to pay
sponsorship.
fuel for all the, people flew in, but the Grand comped their rooms. And so it was a great turn. I mean, we've got the people that did it are still around, like Colton, and, we can find those guys, and they love doing stuff like that.
Well, I'd say let's explore the idea and see if it's cost feasible and if we could get enough sponsorship and see.
I think that's something to consider.
And if that works, go forward.
When is the Jack Edwards thing, the AOPO thing?
This fall.
October 27th.
Yeah, I think 25th to 27th, something like that.
And we'll get I think we'll get some people flying here and will drive across the county because they can't. So that'll be a good field week for us too. And we're up probably 25% year-on-year fuel sales, which is, I mean, that's credit to Joe. Probably 23%, but still pretty good number. Anything else? Anybody? Yes?
I got, my assistant to send me that estimate for that rehab on the apron.
Yeah.
It was $500,000, 500,000, but it's a rehab, it's not, the
No.
pavement's too old to seal coat. Seal coat ain't doing you any good if you surpass 7, 8, 10 years. That pavement's been there quite some time, and he's saying that it's cracked. That's why we had it set up on the capital improvement plan to do a rehab, which would be an overlay of 2 inches of asphalt. And that would be from the far north end of the taxiway that comes off and goes all the way down the apron over to the FBO and stop there.
In a normal budget year, though, we're short of about $200,000 of monies to do certain things.
150,
150.
that's your entitlement funds.
Okay, so which we haven't gotten that really in the last 4 years because we've had these capital projects done. So that's, that would take it, I mean, we would have to compete for that $500,000, wouldn't we?
Yes. Yes.
I think it's just something that we need to look at, because I do think that, you know, if we're already past the
We'll use for life.
ceiling, then,
Well, and keep in mind that what we presented during the capital improvement plan last year was to have that rehabilitation of the apron come in. But then the board elected to change the capital improvement plan and make it all land reimbursement.
Which we did, which we, by the way.
Land reimbursement is reimbursable through your $150,000 of entitlements each year.
So,
So,
yeah, we did not get any land reimbursement this year, which is, you know, there's a lot of positives in that $3.6 million, but one of the negatives is we did not get any land reimbursement.
so just something to think about, you know, food for thought. I mean, you know, we'll have another pre-app season coming up this November for next year's grants, but if your apron's getting in bad enough shape that you're gonna have to start doing something.
it's just time to get, I think it's just time to get ahead of it, and I know you've seen it too. It's just starting to lose some of the, you know, you're starting to see rocks and you have FOD out
Yeah,
there.
and that's past the seal coat. When you start having that, that's past the seal coat. Seal coat's there to preserve a fair pavement, a good condition pavement. The PCI that we had it listed at is what we would recommend we had recommended was a 60, which is below fair. So that means the pavement's quite old. If you're starting to see FOD rocks popping out of it, seal coat's not gonna fix that problem. The seal coat is strictly preservative. It just, you put it down at an early stage, not once it's past a certain stage.
I can testify to that from my condo complex. We waited too late.
Yeah, it won't help it. If you let it start getting cracks in it and whatnot, your seal coat's not gonna do you any good. Yeah, at that point, now you're getting to a structural failure.
How do these, you know, I've seen some material used on bridge decks and on different surfaces that are kind of like a polymer concrete blend. Are those being utilized in the aviation context at all?
They are, we do them at, and they're probably doing some at Brooklyn too, but we've done them at Mobile Regional on concrete pavements. It's called Del Patch. And it's a very good product, but it costs about $1,000 a cubic foot to install. So for, it's quite expensive, and they do them for spall repairs in areas
Okay.
where you have concrete, just, you have a corner break on a slab or something, they'll go and they'll saw cut it, jackhammer it out about 2 to 3 inches thick, and then pour it back with that Del Patch, and it will support anything that comes over.
Okay. That's good.
Any other comments, questions? Any comments from the press? Okay. All right, haven't seen no comments. I adjourn the meeting right at 5 o'clock. Thank y'all.
Thank you.